all my life. Been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life.
Welcome to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com, Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope, got it all. Sterling Holmes live in studio, Darren Smith at his home studio. We will be joined by Max Rieper, editor-in-chief of Royals Review at 3:20 to talk some spring training in Royals baseball. But first, Darren, how you doing?
I'm doing better than the reviews for Coming to America 2 right now. So that might not be saying a whole bunch because they made $125 million before the movie even dropped on Amazon Prime last night. But doing pretty good today. You know, I wanted to come out to the station, but when I stepped outside and felt a little chill, I'm like, it's not 72 degrees again today. So I decided to stay home today. And maybe I'll see you next week when the weather lightens up some.
Dude, golfing on Saturday. This is golf weather. You're not going to be sweating too much. It's perfect.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't golf. I mean, the best I can do is Cool Crest, and I'm not sure if they even open any longer.
I forgot about Cool Crest. I remember as a kid going to Cool Crest. Yeah.
And man, not even that. Look, Cool Crest was the place to go on a date. You know, say mid-afternoon. Hey, what you doing? You want to go out? What we gonna do? We're gonna go to Cool Crest. That's what's sad.
Oh man, that's the name I've not heard in a while. That's awesome. That just took me back. That took me back right there.
It should. I mean, and it's funny. I drive past it all the time when I'm, either going by Gates or you're traveling. I guess the little 40 highway over by the station. And so I keep looking. I'm like, I wonder if they're open, or at least I wonder if they're going to open up or whatever. And I don't know the status of it. So that's why I'm saying it. But if they are open, or if they're going to open up this summer, this spring, I'm definitely going to try to sneak back over there.
You and me, Darren. We'll get some listeners. We'll go out and have some fun at Cool Crest. That sounds like a pretty fun time.
Hey, I'm all for
it. Let's touch on this. John just brought it up on Facebook Live already. We're going to get to it, but let's get to it now. Anthony Sherman, the sausage, the Shermanator, announcing his retirement in a way that only he could, just being a total badass in a helicopter. This is a little surprising. I was surprised when Anthony Sherman announced his retirement. I don't know about you, Darren, but I thought he had a couple years left in him.
I forgot he was on the team, to be quite honest. But when I saw it, I was like, and so, but when I looked at it, I was like, deputy sheriff. I'm like, it can't be for Jackson County. I don't know if it's back in his hometown or whatever. But look, I talked a little bit about it with Michael Coleman, and for me, Anthony Sherman retiring, I think he's played 10 years in the league, 8 years with the Chiefs, and 2 years when he first came into the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals. I think the best thing you can say about Anthony Sherman is that, one, everybody on the team obviously had a great affection for him. They loved him, respect him. It's hard to say anything negative about him because there's really nothing negative to say. I will say that he's kind of like in the mode of Dirty Dan, in that he got down and, as a fullback, he did all the dirty work. He, busted up and created holes. Obviously, he got some goal line touchdown runs, made big runs on third and short for Kansas City throughout his career. Plus, he was a part of this championship run between 2018 and 2020. And so I'm not, I don't think he's ever going to be in the Ring of Honor, but, but again, you have someone who the players, the organization, fans love. That means he had a pretty good career in Kansas City.
Yeah, he was the one that sprung the game-winning run the game-clinching run by Damian Williams in that Super Bowl. He was the one that, according to him, basically told Damian, follow my ass, and then you'll get into the end zone. And Damian said that's what he did, and that was, it's all over after that point. So I think everyone has fond memories of Anthony Sherman. He was a fun, likable guy. Everyone liked his
training,
his training camp, outfits, his intros. The only thing I would say was a little surprising. I get that the Chiefs don't use fullback that often, so maybe he thought his roster spot was in jeopardy because the Chiefs maybe just would go a different route, throw a backup tight end in that position and say, we can keep an extra wide receiver and an extra offensive lineman. So maybe there's some behind-the-scenes stuff where we're saying, hey, we're not bringing you back, and he goes, that's okay, then I might as well just retire. But to me, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for him just to retire, but good for him. Great career, good dude. So we want to wish the best to Anthony Sherman.
Well, it's funny as you were describing or talking about it. I was thinking that same scenario. That obviously there was some conversation between maybe he and Brett Veach or Andy Reid that they were going in another direction. But if you stop and think about it, it's not as though they didn't. I mean, they didn't really utilize him too much this season. And then when they did, I mean, it wasn't often. I don't know how much money it saves via salary cap. I don't think he was making a ton of money, but obviously, compared to what you and I make, obviously it's a lot more than that. I would say that for what he did, and I'm really trying. Well, I guess during the offseason he could train and prepare to be a deputy sheriff. I think kind of like what Shaquille O'Neal did when he played in the NBA.
Yeah.
Obviously we wish him nothing but the best and hope he stays safe in that line of work. You'd hate for anything bad to happen or anything like that. So look, again, he played 8 years in Kansas City, gave all he had. He got a chance to play with Alex Smith. He got a chance to play with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he even got a chance to play with Matt Moore. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, we talk about in politics, people not wanting to know how the sausage is made. And that's something that he was able to do, getting down and dirty on the offensive side of the ball, trying to make sure that he did what he did. And look, and to his credit, he sacrificed his body because, again, the fullback position is not one that is generally utilized much,
Yeah.
if at all, in the NFL. And the fact that he was able to play 8 years in Kansas City, I know Kimball Enders had a decent career like that, as well as oh my
Tony
God,
Richardson.
Tony Richardson. Yeah, thank you, Tony Richardson. So the Chiefs, they do have a history of carrying a fullback onto their roster. Perhaps they just wanted to go younger and maybe
Yeah.
maybe get someone late in the draft that they could possibly coach up and again play for cheap.
Yeah, you're probably not even going to draft a fullback unless you draft a sturdy running back and throw him back there.
Yeah.
I would say the Chiefs would go the route of a backup tight end to allow an extra wide receiver. Maybe this means Maurice French makes the roster. Maybe Jody Fortson makes the roster, an extra guy there. Maybe they saw the offensive line woes and decide to keep an extra offensive lineman on the roster, especially with the injury concerns of Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz. That would be my best guess, just based on the lack of usage as fullback, like you mentioned. It's not a glamorous job, and if you're just going to be basically using it as blocking, maybe you throw a tight end and try to coach him up that way to make him a little bit more versatile.
I don't know, but if the Chiefs are in the market, maybe I can strap back up, a couple of mixed plates from Gates, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Darren's going to be out there, huh?
Hey,
You springing open holes for Clyde and D.
I
Will.
sure would. Just point me in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably about that size. You get to give me a shoulder pass, make me look like a linebacker at fullback. Hey, I'm ready to go.
Hey, I'll follow you. I'll be the running back. You be the fullback. I'll go right behind you.
Yeah, I'm not sacrificing myself like that for you, Sterling. I
Come
mean,
on,
nah, look,
Darren.
no, on the golf course is one thing, but I can't see you going through no holes that I plow through, man. The line will collapse once you get through there, man. Trying to save you from yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think I would take a NFL hit very well. But one thing I did want to talk about was Alex Smith getting released from the Washington football team. First off, I wanted to say bleep Washington football team for releasing Alex Smith, but it makes sense if you look at it from a plan of they what? Hey, come on, I love Alex Smith.
Yeah, but
I,
but this hold on. Alex Smith requested, to get released, so this was on
I know
Alex.
it's
Yeah, so
I
how
was
you gonna say bleep Washington like this? I mean,
it was a joke, Darren.
no,
It
it
was a
wasn't. No, no,
joke.
no. You meant it. But I will say this before you get to your point. It look, they were probably going to try to figure out a way to cut him anyway because he was due to hit their salary cap for about almost 25 million next year. So by cutting him or releasing him or whatever terminology you want to use, the team saves almost $15 million off their cap. So
Yeah. No, it made sense for both ways because Alex does not probably want to be on a rebuilding team. The only thing I would say is he was 5-1 in his starts for Washington last year. I mean, he was
and then to
winning
the
football
NFC
games.
East title, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without him, they were floundering, and he gets a start. It's not like he was putting up huge numbers, but he was taking care of the football, and that defense was strong enough to get by. I don't know what his career has left. I don't know if there's any team in the NFL that's going to say we want Alex Smith to be our starter.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I know a team right off the bat. But before I get to there, I will say this. You know, I think he's one of the first players that I can remember to an NFL comeback player of the year and get cut the same year. So that's
Yeah,
that's something within itself. But again, he had already seen the writing on the wall when they re-signed the quarterback. I think that started the
yeah.
start the playoff game.
Taylor Heineke or
Yeah, and so
yeah,
they re-signed him to a 2 year, $8.5 million deal. So look, they probably will be looking to draft a quarterback in this year's draft. So if you're Alex Smith, you kind of see the writing on the wall because you already got this guy. You already got this guy that backed you up, that started in the playoff game and almost won it against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And in hindsight, I wish they would have, and based
yeah,
on my Super Bowl prediction. But you got to remember, Alex Smith is 37 years old, and it's funny because as we age, we kind of forget that as the players get older, we get older,
yeah,
and so Alex Smith is 37 years. He's not a spring chicken, so he's been in the league for a long period of time. Plus, he had obviously the devastating injury a couple of seasons ago, and then the comeback and the win comeback player of the year, lead the team to a division title, and a playoff appearance. Is says something within itself. But I do believe that the Chicago Bears are an interested party because of Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy had just recently said that that he's had conversations with Alex Smith and would not have a problem coaching him or reuniting with him because they spent 5 years together in Kansas City.
yeah,
Now, what does that mean if you bring Alex Smith in? Now you got three quarterbacks. I mean, you don't have any because
yeah,
you still have Mitchell Trubisky. I think you still have Nick Foles. And if you
yeah.
bring Alex Smith in, I don't understand the dynamic. I don't know how the GM still has a job there. One for just drafting Mitchell Trubisky, let alone still being. I know you said they made the playoffs last year. I don't care.
Yeah.
People still get fired for things like that. Look at Doug Peterson; he won a Super Bowl, but
Sure.
I
Yeah.
digress. And so when I look at the situation, I do believe he could go there. Now, if he didn't have a problem being a backup, maybe a team that drafts a quarterback that may not want to start him right away, and he can come in and be that Alex Smith that he was to Patrick Mahomes. I could see that happening. I don't really know the scenario. I mean, outside of maybe. Well, no, I think they still have Ryan Tannehill because I would say maybe Miami, but yeah, but I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But um, you know,
Insurance for Tua,
huh?
like insurance policy for
Yeah,
Tua.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or because I know he signed a 1 year deal last year with the Dallas Cowboys, the Red River Andy Dalton. So I don't. I
Sure.
mean, I don't know if that could be a landing spot for Alex Smith, but you know, trust me, he's 37. He's Alex Smith. He's got a good name. He's got a good story. He'll be on somebody's team before training camp opens. I can assure you of that.
I'm with you. He will be on a team. He'll be on a roster. I just don't know if it'll be as a starter. I think a team who is
Hold on. And let me just say this. Now, but look, you got to one other thing. He's made his money. He's made his
sure.
money. He made a lot of money, even in Washington. Kansas City took care of him when he was here. He had a $55 million, which I think he may have. I don't know. He played a lot of that contract out here. He got big money when he went to DC. I could see a scenario because he's made the money as much as it would pain me. Oh, it would pain me. But I could see a scenario where the Chiefs bring him back if as a backup.
See, I would have zero problem with him being brought back, but I think
Oh,
his
I would, but but
but
I would understand.
sure. I think to me, a team that would make a lot of sense would be whoever drafts either Zach Wilson, whoever drafts, maybe Justin Fields, because Trevor Lawrence is starting week 1. That much we know. He's not going to Jacksonville and sitting behind a dude. But say you don't have 100% faith in Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or another young Trey Lance, and you want someone to get a year of experience behind a guy. Then maybe you bring in Alex Smith to be that starter and mentor for one season. He knows that, and then you hand the reins over, aka like they did with Mahomes. That would make sense to me.
I could see that, but I also don't want to just start throwing him on teams because he's just like any other quarterback. He has to fit in the system as well. that would
Sure.
that would work his skill set. Like he can't go to Baltimore and back up Lamar Jackson because now you got to change the entire offense. So
Well, but Baltimore's not going to be drafting one of those quarterbacks. I'm talking about
no,
the
no,
Jets or
no.
maybe Carolina. If Carolina's not, but they would probably still stick with Teddy at that point. I don't think they're going to trade him.
Yeah.
You would have to do some research and say which team makes the most sense. But there's some teams that I think he would make sense being that veteran presence for 1 year to make sure they're comfortable with that young guy when they hand over the reins.
Yeah, but just signing him right now, to come in and maybe be a starter somewhere, the only place I could see would be Chicago, just because their quarterback situation is so screwed up as it is. That would be the only place I could see him walking. I mean, unless you know, if you're Alex Smith, would you go to Houston?
Mm. I mean, I guess it depends on the money.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
Well, yeah, and then also remember, Alex is also dependent on the talent that he has around him too.
Yeah.
Because he, and here's the other thing: you have to understand that Alex is not going to win you a Super Bowl. He's not going to take you to a Super Bowl, no matter what kind of talent you got around him. So you have to at least let if you're Alex, you got to be realistic. You got to look at a scenario that works best for you, your bank account, the team, and the team salary cap, and the expectations. Because at the end of the day, if Alex Smith goes any place to talk about winning the Super Bowl, you have to just kind of tune it out. So
I agree. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl, but I think he can bring a team from the cellar to relevancy, like he did with Kansas City. I think he can shore up a lot of issues. But I'm with you. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl. Before Max Rieper joins us to talk some Royals, I do want to talk very briefly. Ben Roethlisberger coming back to the Steelers, taking a pretty large pay cut. Is this good or bad for the Steelers?
well, good for the Steelers. I mean, you got your quarterback for next year, and you got him at a cheaper price. It helps your salary cap out, so it could obviously allow you to maybe, maybe you tag Juju Smith-Schuster. Maybe you get some more offensive help. Maybe maybe you get some more alignment. I'm not quite sure now. The one thing I would do, and I know they have, who was it, Duck Hodges or somebody. You've got to be able to draft somebody to.
Dwayne Haskins now.
Oh yeah. Dwayne is there. Well, okay. Well then, I mean, maybe you got your quarterback of the future, depending on what he looks like, man. But if not, but if Dwayne Haskins is not your quarterback of the future, then it's imperative that you find that quarterback in the NFL draft.
No, I'm with you. I just didn't know if it was time for the Steelers to move on and to give up on the Big Ben, however old he is. I didn't know if his time has passed after looking at his arm last year. I didn't know if it was time to go in a different, younger direction. But I think you're right. As a contending team, your best bet is probably still with a veteran guy who's been there, who has done it. I think he still gives the Steelers the best chance to win currently.
And I was going to say, look, as the organization, you kind of owe it to him. Yeah, I mean, he did lead you to 3 Super Bowls and 2 Super Bowl wins. So, look, if he wanted to come back, the organization, a lot of times we say, well, yeah, they say it, but they meant it, but that's where negotiation and compromise comes. Ben wants to come back. They want to come back, not at the price he was obviously going to. He was going to be making what, $41 million. He's going
Stupid
so
money.
so by being able to sign him for that, and I believe, if I'm correct, he's not able to get like any of that back pay or whatever back. So that's money that's gone. So
Yeah.
Look, we talked about it. Players giving teams hometown discounts, but everybody's going to do what they're going to do.
Well, we do have to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by. Well, we want to talk Royals with Max Rieper. I'm out here trying to talk a little baseball. Spring training, baby.
To a baseball game. You're trying to go.
Oh, hell yes, I am trying to go to a baseball game. But when we come back from break, we'll be joined by Max Rieper of Royals Review. This right here is Darren and Sterling.
Kansas City Junk Company reminds our listeners that each day over 20 veterans take their own lives. Together we can win this war against veteran suicide. Let's all join Kansas City Junk Company and let our veterans know there's hope and they have a community still behind them. This message courtesy of our good friends at Kansas City Junk Company, a local veteran-owned and operated junk removal company, where they are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. For more information or to book an estimate, call 913-216-1811.
Spring is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. Call today at 913-359-8627. 913-359-8627.
Space Camper Cosmic IPA is a juicy hot blast of flavor. Citrusy and balanced, this is an IPA with a mission to save the Earth because it's the only planet with beer. You might not know it, but Boulevard Brewing Company has been passionate about taking care of our planet for decades. Between their zero-waste brewery to Ripple Glass, Boulevard has been making great beer you can feel great about. Stock up on Space Camper Cosmic IPA today. Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City, Missouri.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days. Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
Hey investors, have you always wanted to get into the real estate investing game but don't have the money? Crossroads Investment Lending loans money for fix and flips. Locally owned and here to help you fund your real estate project. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Crossroads Investment Lending has helped hundreds of KC investors make their real estate deals happen. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com, Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope. We're joined now by Max Rieper, editor-in-chief of Royals Review. Max, how you doing? A little Santana entrance for you right there.
Well, I'm doing great, man. The Royals are on my TV. It's Friday. The weather's getting nice finally. Life's pretty good right now.
Darren just gave you a face when you said weather's getting nice right now. He's a little upset it was 55 today. He was complaining about this.
Considering we were a few weeks ago, this was great.
Yeah, after the zeros, I'm like, dude, this is shorts weather. Where's the pool? Let me dive in. Let me dive into the Kaufman fountains right now. But I do want to talk to you. We got some Royals review and some spring training going on right now. Royals are playing the Dodgers on ESPN, so if you guys can turn that on and listen to us, that'd be fantastic. But the first question I have for you is maybe the toughest question for you. Is this Mondesi's last chance? Because I think he's anywhere from having a breakout season and him getting like $200 million contract extension, or him having a terrible season and him getting, released, getting traded. Is this his last chance?
I think he's got quite a long leash with this organization. I mean, they've been pretty enamored with his skills for a while, and for good reason. I mean, he's got that unique blend of power and speed that you just don't see very often. And, the upside is there. And this is an organization that if a player has some upside, they tend to kind of stick with that guy through thick and thin. I mean, look how long Bubba Starling's been on this team without really showing any semblance of major league productivity. And Mondesi's shown his flashes, right? I mean, at the end of last year, there was really no hitter in baseball that was hotter than him to end the season. So I don't think this is like his last chance, but, it's a pretty pivotal season. I mean, they even mentioned on the ESPN broadcast today that, like, look, he's got to finally put it together and kind of match performance with potential, because he's 25 years old, which is still pretty young, but he's got a substantial amount of major league experience at this point. And, you know, you kind of have to start running out of excuses at this point. You know, okay, he's hurt a lot. Okay, well, then is he an injury-prone player? You know, okay, he strikes out a lot. Is that always going to be something that plagues him throughout his career? Is that something he's going to be able to figure out? So it's kind of put up or shut up time in terms of like, is he going to be a player that can take it to that next level, or is this kind of just what he is? And he's got to be an okay player. I mean, look, he's still a valuable player, even if he's a below average bat, in that he can, you know, hit a home run now and again, play great defense, and steal, you know, 50 bases a year. But he may not necessarily be that MVP or all-star type player that some people see in him. So, yeah, it's a pretty pivotal year. I don't know that his career is hanging in the balance or anything, but if he wants like a big payout, like you mentioned, yeah, I think he's going to have to start producing at that level now. And I think the Royals do have some room to be patient with him, but you know they're in win now mode, and I think the clock's going to start ticking on that.
Max, you said the phrase that I've been telling Sterling the last 3 weeks, that they are in win now mode. I know we hadn't talked to you when they signed Hunter Dozier to the 4-year, $25 million deal. Do you like that deal? Do you like the moves in bringing back Jared Dyson to this team, knowing that they're in the win now mode?
Yeah, well, I say win now in kind of like air quotation marks. I mean, like, look, they're not like serious contenders. I don't think anyone like thinks they're like, oh yeah, we're going to seriously contend for a world championship this year. I mean, but I think there is more of an impetus on winning. And yeah, I think the Hunter Dozier signing kind of shows that, look, they expect to be at least contenders in the next 3-4 years now. You know, the window they have Hunter Dozier signed under. You know, as far as the deal, I think it's a good gamble to take. It's really saying, hey, we expect Hunter Dozier to still be a pretty productive hitter in 2024, which is the kind of the extra year of free agency they buy out in this deal. Which, you know, he'll be 33. I'm a little skeptical on that, but it's such a below market deal. He'll make $9 million that year, and considering the payroll flexibility that they have, that's probably a decent gamble to take. I think the bigger deal is that this kind of sends a message to everyone. So like, look, we're willing to invest in players. We think we can win here in the next couple of years. So, you know, we like what we're building here. And as far as Dyson, I mean, you know, you look at first blush, I think you're like, okay, why are they bringing him in? Doesn't Nick Heath kind of have the same skill set, and is a much younger and, you know, of course, cheaper player? Yeah. But I you know, they missed these minor leaguers missed an entire year last year. They didn't get any like at bats and meaningful games. Heath got in a few with the Royals, but I think there's kind of an attitude of like, we don't want to necessarily throw guys that didn't play last year like into the major league action without getting some of their feet wet a little bit in the minors this year. So I think Dyson's a little bit of a hedge against that. He gives them some major league experience. He's a guy that can like sit the bench, you know, like I think Heath's the guy that they want playing in the minor leagues every day. Whereas Dyson, you know, he's a veteran. He knows his role. He knows he can be the fourth outfielder and sit a couple days a week and then be called upon and pinch run and then, you know, start on Sunday in center field and fill that role for them. So I think in that respect, it makes a little bit of sense. And look, it's just fun to have Gerard Dyson back. He's I think he's a fan favorite. He's a guy that I think we like cheering for, and it brings a little bit of nostalgia back. So I'm fine with that.
With Gerard Dyson, I know you said a hedge against Nick Heath, and that was my initial reaction as well. I was like, come on, I want to see what Nick Heath can do. I want to see what he can do. Gerard Dyson's speed took a drastic turn last year. I mean, he's 36. He's not, you know, as quick as he once was. But then I started thinking about it more. And was this a hedge against Michael Taylor? Was this someone where they say, we want to platoon Gerard Dyson with Michael Taylor more because Michael Taylor, of course, is better against lefties than he is against righties? Does that have any weight, or am I looking too, I guess, deep into this?
No, I think there could be something to that, especially if Taylor kind of struggles early on. I think you could see him maybe sit against righties and Dyson maybe play a little bit more. But, you know, people keep saying, oh, you know, a couple of weeks ago it was like, oh, well, Taylor platoon with Khalil Lee or maybe Edward Olivares will get some time in center. Everything, all the indications I've heard and read from camp is like they want Taylor to be like an everyday center fielder, and they think like the tweaks that he's made with his swing can really improve his productivity and cut down on the strikeouts. He hit a home run today, so you know it was a pretty good looking swing today against the Dodgers. But yeah, I understand the skepticism, and I'm pretty skeptical myself. He hasn't really put up numbers that would suggest he's a you know major league regular out there. But he's more out there for his defense. I think, if he can give them a little bit of offense, they'll take it. But yeah, I think it's a situation where you could see Dyson in the mix. And then look, Dyson, it's not like he's making a ton of money this year. He's making $1.5 million. So like, if it's June and he's not really hitting and Nick Heath is really playing well in Omaha, I mean, it's not, I think it would hurt to like release Draw Dyson at that point, but it's certainly something they could do and not feel like they're out a lot of money. So they have some flexibility. I think they just want to have a lot of options and have some depth. They don't want to be in a situation where, like a couple years ago, they didn't have any outfielders and they had to go clam a guy like Abraham Almonte off waivers, if you remember him. So, yeah. So it's nice to have that kind of flexibility and depth, and I think that's what they want to have going into the season.
Max Rieper joining us on Darren and Sterling here on the ESPN Kansas City, 94.5 FM, 15:10 a.m. Royals Review Editor-in-Chief. Max, obviously, this is the first week of spring training. We've, gotten to see a little bit of what Kansas City has to offer. One, I want to get your thoughts on how they look to you this first week of spring training, but then two, the Royals made the announcement on yesterday with the press release that they are looking to have upwards of 10,000 fans per game. Want to get your thoughts on that as well.
Well, yeah, from the first week of spring training, I mean, I don't want to get buy too much into spring training. It's like, when the Chiefs have the first preseason game and everyone gets so excited about the third string quarterback, it's an exhibition game. They're playing in the dry air of Arizona against AAA pitchers. So we should all take it with a grain of salt. But, it's pretty exciting to see some of these young guys perform, like Daniel Lynch on the hill, striking out Ian Happ with a really terrific looking changeup and throwing 97 miles per hour. The Bobby Witt Jr. hitting an inside the park home run against the Cincinnati Reds yesterday. Sully Matthias hitting a palm tree with a home run, a 480-foot blast. I mean, it's hard not to get excited about that a little bit. I just like seeing these young minor league prospects do well. And look, they're not going to make the team. Bobby Witt Jr. is not going to make the team. But I think it's good for him to get some confidence. Say, hey, look, I'm hitting against, guys that are AAA major league type pitchers. I belong. And I think it's nice for him to kind of have that success and take that into the season with them. So it's kind of exciting. I think it's good for those players. As for the fans coming back, I mean, it's great. It seems like we're at a point where, the cases are going down. Missouri, I think, has been a little bit lower for cases in most states. And I think, baseball is going to be prudent about this. But, having fans back, even in limited capacity, is going to be great. I think we're all excited. The players seem excited to have fans, even if it's only 10,000 fans. And it's going to be up to fans whether or not they want to make the decision to go out there. But I think it's great. And hopefully they can do it in a way that's safe for everyone. But I think it's going to be great to have fans back in the stand. Last year was such a weird experience not having actual people in the seats, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, hold on. First, before you get it, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I like it, because it did get lonely out there covering the games out there, I enjoyed going to and from Kaufman Center without having to worry about traffic. So I do want to point that out. Yeah.
So
that's the life of the 1% Sterling that you get to live.
What do you think? I'm just rocking a helicopter over? Dude, I'm stuck in traffic too. My Jeep gets 7 miles a gallon. I probably got to fill up on my way from my house to the stadium. No.
Well, and hey, look, seriously, having 10,000 people there, I mean, I love a full stadium, but man, it's kind of nice to have that kind of elbow room and not have to wait in line at the bathroom. And
exactly.
I imagine lines for beers are going to be a lot smaller. So there's a lot of advantages to having limited capacity games too.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic. I'm actually excited. 10,000 is perfect. That's the perfect amount of fans. You're 100% correct here. You mentioned Bobby Witt Jr., but I have to throw him out because that'd be the obvious answer. We always hear about these young pitchers. We always hear about Lynch and Kowar and even Brady Singer and Chris Bubich and, Bolin. But which of these young hitters do you think has the best chance of making an impact sooner rather than later?
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, Witt's the obvious answer. But, if you're looking for someone beyond him, I've not been really high on Nick Prado. But, he was their first round pick a couple years ago, first baseman. But they still believe in him. And, he's made some adjustments, I think, in the past year. They said he looked really good at the alternate site last year. He hit a home run. He followed up Bobby Witt Jr.'s inside the park with an out of the park home run, which is, I think, what you prefer. And so if he is legit and he really turns it on, he's got that athleticism that, kind of reminds you a little bit of Eric Hosmer. He's a good defender at first base. If he becomes a prospect like they kind of think he was going to be a couple years ago, then look out. I think he's got a chance that's got a chance to really elevate the minor league system and give you a solid starter, because they don't, look, Carlos Santana is in his, mid-30s. He's not obviously just here short term. Ryan O'Hearn, I think the clock is pretty much ticking on him, and he's going to have to, I don't know where exactly his career is going to go in the future, but, Prado's kind of the future at first base, and that they're going to need a solution there. So if he becomes a prospect to kind of keep your eye on again, I think the Royals they could be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I like that one. That'd be my pick, too, because they need someone at first base. I think he will get a chance. Ryan O'Hearn had his shot and didn't really take with it. He almost had the Kia Kaiahui where you see the minors, and then you see him have this warning track power, and then you look at the advanced stats. He's hitting the ball hard, but for some reason it's just not showing up. But it's consistently not showing up. So at some point, the clock is ticking on him. With the pitchers, though, do you have one? Because everyone has one guy that they love. Of the young guys, everyone seems to be latching on to one dude. Which of the young guys are you latching on to?
I'm a big Daniel Lynch fan. I think if you have a lefty that throws upper 90s with the kind of changeup he has, that's pretty special. And look, he needs to develop a third pitch like Brady Singer needs to develop a third pitch, or like Jackson Kowar needs to develop a third pitch. But to have that fastball changeup combination from a lefty, you're not going to find that everywhere. And I think, I think he's got a higher upside than Singer. And I think Singer's pretty darn good. I think Singer's going to be a really solid pitcher for a lot of years. But I think Lynch is the kind of guy that could make all-star teams, could be an ace if he puts it all together. So I'm most excited about him. He had a little bit of a setback at the end of the 2019 season where he had a little bit of arm soreness, but it looks like he's back and throwing as hard as ever. So I think he's the guy that has the kind of upside that you need. Because look, they've got a lot of solid starters. I think. Look, Brad Keller is a solid starter, but he's not an ace. He's certainly a great find and a guy you can slot in the number 3 spot and feel really good about it. Singer, I think probably he could be in maybe number 2, and maybe look. I'm not going to say he's not going to be an ace or not going to be an all-star type pitcher, but I think what a lot of scouts and evaluators have said is like he's probably a mid-rotation guy. Lynch is a guy with kind of the electric stuff that makes scouts really, really drool. And I think he's the guy that, if he puts it all together, could have that kind of upside. That's the guy I think I get most excited about.
Max Rieper joining us, Royals Review editor-in-chief. I saw about Brad Keller, a very interesting article that you touched on Royals Review in your little weekly roundup right there, the Royal Rumblings. And it said it was the most interesting pitcher in the majors. Why is Brad Keller the most interesting pitcher in the majors?
Well, yeah, it was a good article by Alec Lewis at the Athletic, and it just seems like Brad Keller mystifies a lot of people. Like, I mean, the name of the game in pitching today in baseball is like you got to strike guys out. It's all about velocity. You got to throw high 90s. You got to throw 100 miles an hour. You could have ungodly breaking stuff that just falls off the table or just darts out of the way of the hitter. And Keller just does it, his way. He doesn't have like overpowering stuff. He doesn't have super high strikeout rates, but he just finds a way to induce poor contact and get results. He's kind of a throwback in a lot of ways. And Alec has this aerodynamics expert that kind of talks about why Keller is such an interesting pitcher. But it's really confounding. And I don't know. I think he's like the most obvious candidate to get a long-term deal at this point. But I have to wonder if like part of the reason he hasn't gotten that yet is because everyone's kind of expecting him to not perform anymore, and he just keeps doing it. So I'm really interested to see how he handles this season. He began last year kind of with a setback after he got a COVID positive test, and when he did come on, I mean, he was fantastic. So how does he respond this year after he had limited innings last year? Like, how are they going to ease him back? Is he going to have a full load? How do his numbers respond? And also, remember they're changing the ball this year. They're going to deaden the ball a little bit, which could help him as well. So it's going to be a really interesting year for him, and he could be in line for payday as well. But he definitely is one of the more interesting pitchers in baseball, and he just goes against the grain quite a bit.
Yeah, he makes no sense to me. It's almost like Chris Young when Chris Young was striking dudes out throwing 86, and you're sitting here like, How? How are you doing this? You know what he throws. But somehow Brad Keller gets it done year in and year out. Before we let you go, Max, final question for you. With the Hunter Dozier extension, I'm pretty sure he's the only guy under contract past 2022. Who do the Royals target next? Who is going to be on this team who's on the current roster who will be here in 2023?
Salvi.
Yeah, I think Salvador Perez is the guy they got to start talking about. What's his next contract going to look like? And I don't know how far apart they're going to be on that because the template there might be Yadier Molina's deal with the Cardinals, and I think he got a 5-year deal at about the same age. And I don't know if the Royals are going to be comfortable going that many years with a guy like Salvador Perez. I think they may be more comfortable with like 3 or 4. So that'll be an interesting discussion. Like, okay, do we make you a Royal for life? Do we kind of maybe overpay a little bit just because we want to keep you here and keep you in a Royals uniform? Does he take a little less to stay in a Royals uniform? That's going to be a really interesting discussion. But, I mean, I think both sides have to work. I can't imagine Salvador Perez wearing another uniform. Can you? I mean, it seems he's going to have a statue of himself out at Kauffman Stadium someday. It just seems like that has to get done. I don't know. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Do they sign him to a deal before that, or does he make it to free agency? But I would think he's next in line to get a deal. And like I said, I think Brad Keller, it makes a lot of sense. He's never had a big payday as a player. Everyone keeps expecting him to kind of fall off as far as performance. So it makes sense for him to kind of guarantee that money now. So, I think the Royals would like to have him here for a while. So I think Keller makes a lot of sense as well. So you may start to see a lot of these kind of deals. I think the Dozier deal was probably just the first of what it could be many long-term extensions for the Royals.
Sign Benintendi for 8+ years and I will be okay. That's what I want. But Max Rieper joining us right here on Darren and Sterling. Follow him on Twitter. Read his stuff on Royals Review. He is the editor-in-chief. Always has funny comments as well. Max, we really appreciate you coming on the show today. We'll have you back on to give your predictions before this season starts. Again, we really appreciate you having on.
That sounds great, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, have a great weekend, man.
We'll take a quick break. This is Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City.
Are you looking for unique sporty clothing and merchandise that makes you stand out from the crowd? Do you love Kansas City sports teams? The Cherry Company designs and creates fashion-forward gear for athletes, avid sports fans, and everything in between. Check out our famous Casey Mahomes denim jacket at cherrysportsgear.com or find it in stores in the Made in KC, Lee Summit, or Plaza location. Sport style, sport local, sport Cherry. Want a 20% off discount? Mention 810 Sports in store or use code 810 online. Stay on top and visit cherrysportsgear.com today.
Hi, this is Justin Cole, Private Wealth Manager at Creative Planning. Over the last few years, we have grown to one of the largest nationally recognized wealth management firms in the country. While we are proud of our success, we're most proud of our Kansas City roots. We were founded in Kansas City and remain headquartered here because there's no place we'd rather be. We're Kansas City strong. Thank you, Kansas City, for giving us a vibrant community in which to thrive. And thank you to our clients for putting your trust in us. We don't take this lightly. If you're not a client, we invite you to reach out for a free, no-obligation financial review with our experienced team of investment professionals, CPAs, and lawyers who will work together to build a comprehensive plan for you. You can find us at creativeplanning.com. That's creativeplanning.com. Or by calling 913-338-2727. 913-338-2727. Learn for yourself how Creative Planning has earned our recognition as a top national wealth advisory firm.
You know Aldi is all about saving you money, but they care beyond the carts too. That's why Aldi is partnering with Sports Radio 810 WHB to help cram the van with donations for the Salvation Army and local food banks. Stop by your Shawnee Aldi on Wednesday, March 10th from 8 a.m. until 12:30. Pick up some items and help us cram the van out front for those in need. Mark your calendars and cram the van Wednesday, March 10th at Aldi. Together, let's make a difference. Aldi. Shop differently.
The American dream, home ownership. Now, is that true? Sometimes owning a house can be a problem, an ugly problem. Repairs, taxes, just mowing the yard. What we've learned is with every ugly problem, there's a beautiful solution. Let us be that solution. WeBuyUglyHouses.com. Call us today. We're the We Buy Ugly Houses people. 1-800-44-BUYER or WeBuyUglyHouses.com. Call us today. Get rid of that ugly problem. 1-800-44-BUYER. We're the real ugly house guys.
The Kansas City Comets are back in action this Saturday and Sunday for a pair of games against the Tacoma Stars and the Ontario Fury at Cable Dahmer Arena with playoff positioning on the line. Comets Arena Soccer is fast, furious, high-scoring action for the entire family, and all seats are socially distanced this season for fan safety. Get your tickets today for the Kansas City Comets versus the Tacoma Stars on Saturday night at 6 p.m. or Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. against the Ontario Fury by calling 888-9-COMETS or by visiting Ticketmaster.com.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com, Facebook Live. Thank you again to Max Rieper, editor-in-chief of Royals Review, coming on the show today, talking some Royals, giving us our Royals updates and talking some spring training. Darren, time for you to shine, baby. NBA time.
Well, not only that, we want to welcome the viewers who might have been tuned into the baseball game. The Royals are trailing right now, so they decided to tune back into the show. They're trailing 5-3, so we want to welcome you back for the last segment of the show. But, man, I mean, look, it's it's that time of the year, man. I mean, I'm still confounded, confused about NBA All-Star weekend being this weekend, of course, and not only that, we really get to start preparing, start next week here in Kansas City at least, get to start prepping for the start of the Big 12 tournament. So there's a lot to look forward to. But yeah, looking at the All-Star game last night, LeBron James and Kevin Durant, they got a chance to pick their teams. I got a chance to watch it. I thought it was rather, LeBron James always picks the best, the best available player first.
Yeah.
So, and of course, as long as he's the top vote getter, he gets. But I want to get your thoughts on who you think had the better lineup. Of course, he selected Giannis Antetokounmpo. I said it correctly. Stefan Curry, Luka Doncic, and Nikolai Jokic against Durant, who's being subbed by, of course, Jason Tatum, but also has Kyrie Irving, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, and Bradley Beal on that squad.
I think Team LeBron's better, especially with no KD and no AD. I think LeBron, his team's better. I do think it was very funny. The shade that was thrown at the Utah Jazz, who has the best record in the NBA. The final two players picked were Utah Jazz guys, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, especially when LeBron goes, we need some height on our team. Give me Domantas Sabonis while Rudy Gobert is still on the board sitting there at 7'2".
Yeah, shout out to Charles Barkley who called LeBron James out on that. Like, you say you need height, and there's a 7-foot guy on available, and you go with the 6'2" guy. So
yeah, I'm like, dude, like the shade thrown at the Utah Jazz players. I almost feel bad because Utah, they just don't get the credit they deserve, and I know it's tough because they don't have a traditional superstar, I would say. Like, Donovan Mitchell's fantastic, and Rudy Gobert's fantastic, but Rudy Gobert is probably not a top 4 big man or a top 7 big man in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell, he's not LeBron James. He's not Giannis. He's not, these traditions. He's not Kawhi. But the record is so good.
See, it's hard for me to really agree with that because Rudy Gobert, I mean, you can't be a defensive player of the year damn near year in and year out, or at least, in that conversation. I think he's won it three times already. To where you can't. I mean, I'm not saying he's top 3, top 5, but he's got to be top 10. I mean,
easy top 10, yeah.
I mean, because sheesh, man. I mean, that's not giving him any credit for the job he's done. Now, he doesn't have to be an offensive wizard, but he does give you a double-double. I mean, those are points and rebounds that you can count on, and a defensive effort. I mean, I don't have a problem with the Rudy Gobert. I like him. I like him overall as a player too. I like what he brings to the table.
I do too, but my point was, you're not going to pick him over Embiid. You're not going to pick him over Jokic. You're not going to pick him over Giannis. You're not going to pick him over AD.
I ain't picking him for offense now. I mean,
you got to pick the whole player. You got to pick the whole player, baby. Come on, you don't just get to pick and choose.
But not to start the game off. I don't know about that one now.
No, but to me, I think Team LeBron has the better overall roster here, especially no Durant, no AD. But who knows? I mean, it's an all-star game. Anything could happen. Devin Booker could go off and just hit like 10 threes, and I would not be surprised.
Well, I do like the matchup though, because obviously you're going to have Giannis matched up against Joel Embiid. You're going to have now look the matchup I'm going to enjoy watching is Steph Curry going up against Kyrie Irving. Because they didn't really play too much against each other when they played a couple of weeks ago in Golden State. Actually, I don't think they matched up too much against this. I'm looking forward to that, but I also want to see how LeBron plays with Luka Doncic and Nikolai, because all three of them, are kind of like point, their points masquerading, at other positions. But I'm really, really, really interested to see how, how these players play with each other.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Team LeBron's almost all like point forwards. Like LeBron, I mean, Giannis, Luka, Jokic. I mean, Steph Curry's the point guard, obviously, too. So it's like they have like 5 point guards on their team, just all in different body sizes. I think Jokic going up against Embiid will be so fun to watch. Those two going at it. I could see Embiid somehow getting pissed off and just trying to actually play and dominate this game. You know how most guys kind of joke around and laugh and take it easy? I could see someone like Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, and Embiid just actually going at each other in this game.
Well, look, I think you can see Joel Embiid get upset. I think he'll only get upset if he sees Rudy Gobert in the game. Because obviously he doesn't have a whole lot of love lost for him, so I can see that happening.
And then Ben Simmons is on the team trying to play peacekeeper since he's on the team with, Embiid in real life, and then he's on the team with Rudy Gobert in this game. So fun storylines in this game, a lot of drama.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's one of the good things that you can count on when the NBA. Now, how much defense will be played? I mean, will there be a whole lot of alley oops? Because I can't remember what year it was. I don't know if it was in Charlotte or in Atlanta, where it just seemed like they were playing with no effort. Everybody was trying to throw alley oops to one another, and then they didn't play defense till like the last 3 minutes of the ball game.
You mean the past 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, and then I think Commissioner Adam Silver had to have a conversation with LeBron. They said, "Look, man, we need you to play. At least show a little bit of effort. Don't just knowingly just violate the spirit of the game and stuff like that." So I can see that happening.
Go to Rucker Park. That would be fun. Just have them all play outdoors there. Then they would all try. They would all try if they're playing out there.
Well, I mean, you got history going on that you do something like that. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, Durant's played there, and I mean, some of the videos of Durant playing at Rucker Park is some of the greatest basketball you will ever see.
Facts, because I saw that game.
So, switching to college basketball, KU eked out a win over, I don't even know who it was last night. I mean, they eked out by 5 points. Other teams took care of business. Baylor took care of business. Texas beat Oklahoma. Some very good games, but KU somewhat struggled. Was that surprising to you?
No. I mean, because what it was obviously they got up for Baylor, and then following that game and the win over Baylor. I mean, it's obvious that you would have a little bit of a letdown. So I mean, I could see that happening.
Just to me, though, you want to put the nail in the coffin here. It's great you won, but, Michigan really took care of business. They did. And then I think, Texas Tech just put the hammer down on ISU. I was expecting KU after this big win over Baylor to say, you know what, we're here. We're legit. Everything's clicking at the right time. I was expecting a beat down in this game, and I was a little surprised it didn't happen.
Well, Coach Self just wanted an opportunity for the players, because I don't think they play again until next week. So he didn't want them really going like 10 days without playing a ball game. So if I'm Coach Self, obviously, if I'm Coach Self, I'm sleeping well at night with that contract. But if I'm the players, I'm sorry, but if I'm the players, I think the players are trying to get to the game and at the end try to get to the game, obviously with the win, because they probably didn't expect to struggle, but they also felt that if they step on the court that they would just win just by doing that. I do believe that they wanted to just try to help and get through with the game, try to get through the weekend, kind of rest and relax and get their mind, body, and thoughts right as they prepare for Big 12 tournament next week in Kansas City.
Who is the key for you on Kansas? For me, it'd be Jalen Wilson, the freshman. I think Jalen Wilson is the key, where if he has some of those great games like he's had this season, I think KU could beat anyone, in college basketball. But if he struggles like he did in this game, 1 of 7, 3 points, to me, then they'll struggle. It's weird putting that much pressure on one guy, but he seemingly is a massive difference maker.
To be honest, I'm always about the big man because to me that's where and that's how the game is dominated, and it's dominated by by the man in the middle. So to me, it's got to be David McCormick. I mean, they've had success when he's been able to ball out and when he's been able to play great on offense as well as defense. So we saw what the 19 points he gave you against Baylor. I think the team is going to go as far as he's able to take them. That's just my humble thoughts.
So, final thoughts before we get out of here. Blake Griffin getting released or granted his release on a buyout by the Detroit Pistons. No team wanted to trade for him in that contract.
Well,
what happens with Blake Griffin?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I thought about that. Would you? I mean, one, if you're LeBron James, you use them because, you could always use more help. But is there a scenario where you could go back to LA? Whether with the Clippers or with LeBron? And so, obviously they don't have to pay as much because his contract got bought out, so you can sign him for the league
veterans minimum. Yeah. The teams I'm looking at, he says Nets, Warriors, Heat, and Trailblazers. Nets make sense. They need some other big guy besides DeAndre Jordan.
Hey, that's a championship built team. Yeah, I would never have a problem with that. I like that.
Well, we'll talk about all this and more after the NBA All-Star break. This was Darren and Sterling right here on ESPN Kansas City. Have fun, stay safe, have a good week. And it's Friday, Darren, baby. It's Friday. Good weather is rolling on. Darren, thank you so much. We'll be back right here on ESPN Kansas City tomorrow, or on Monday. I always say tomorrow. It's Monday. We'll be back Monday right here from 3 to 4 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City.